Hello guys. I just wanted to make you aware of an error in my analysis. And this is going to be pretty cool from a theoretical standpoint. So, in a past game, I believe it was game 9 of this match, I stated that the move king to d5 is a win for black. Unbelievably, it's not. White can play the move king to h6. And as we discussed there, go check Key Moments in Chess History, video number 36, for reference, if you have not seen it yet. But after the move g5, white has the move rook a5. I'm sorry, not rook a5. Rook a5, that's the move. So white's only try to win this game, because remember, the king has to be close, or else we can't win. So king c4, white can just take, and after rook here, queen g6. This king is too far to help against this pawn. So the only move is king to c6. And now, as we discussed, pawn takes pawn, rook h1, king g7, take, king f, or g6, king d7. And this wins, because if king here, rook check. And it's just a elementary win after this move. So, what can white do after king c6? It's an amazing move. We just play rook to a3. And this is all very hard to figure out on your own. This kind of stuff you have to know, and even then it's very hard, because like these endgames can be tricky. But the point is, after pawn takes pawn, king h5. I think king h5. Let me double check before I make some bad moves here. I lost my analysis, so I'm going to have to remember. A safer move is rook c3. And after the king moves somewhere, rook to c2. Now, you know what? Yeah, rook c3, king b5, rook c2, king to b4, or let's say h3. And then we play rook to h2. And even though black is up 2 pawns, we have a fortress here. Because the rook can't move because we capture the h-pawn, right? Like this doesn't win, for example. There's no way to win this position. Just probably the easiest would be this move. This is actually not true. Is this true, or am I playing this wrong? I think we can just go king here to here to here. Oh no, that's a lie. I'm just a little worried this king's going to get here and it's going to be a win. So maybe I have to be a little more careful with my moves and just play rook here, and then bring the king up and capture the pawn. So after rook c2, h3, rook h2, let's say you try to bring the king up. The problem is, anytime you bring it up to the 3rd rank, I take the h-pawn with check. And in the meantime, I just slowly walk my king over. And let's say you kind of just mess around. Like the king goes here, king goes here. I can, at any moment, I can just take this. Is that a lie? I think that's a lie, actually. I'm so stupid. I keep making the wrong moves. I should probably just wait. The problem is if I take, after this move, I just move the rook next move, and it's game over. Black's going to queen. So I need to be able to make sure I can keep checking you. And anytime you do this, so I just move the king back and forth, basically. And anytime you do this, check, king b4, I just come back with rook to b2, or sorry, h2. And black just has no way to make progress. If the king comes up, check, and just keep checking. This is actually very reminiscent of a theoretical endgame called the Vancouver defense. It was a defense to rook and h-pawn versus rook that was actually found, I don't remember when it was found, but it changed the theoretical evaluation of a position. Before they had endgame table bases and stuff like that. Now, of course, in 1890, when this match was played, it's just impossible for these guys to find these moves. It's just, they have no historical knowledge on these types of endgames. To find this defense is like 1 in a million for somebody with no understanding of these typical ideas. So I just wanted to show that. I thought it's a pretty cool idea. And I found it because I went to chessgames.com, and I was just looking at some of the analysis of the games, and I noticed somebody mentioning it in the notes. You can find out a lot about games by doing that. Usually whenever I analyze old games, I go check that site, because a lot of times people will reprint annotations from the players themselves, from other sources, and I'll learn a few little things. So I highly recommend that site for famous games. Alright, thanks guys for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.